Hey, you guys, it's Hope. So I want to talk to you a little about my college years. I went to the University of West Georgia, and I was a theater major. I would hang out with friends. I got into Doctor Who during that time. Went to DragonCon a lot. So I did a lot of things in college, and I could talk to you about my theater major and all that fun stuff and all the crazy, wild theater parties that we have, because Bill and Anne Marie knows that we have theater parties. But what I really want to talk to you about is Harry Potter. Harry Potter was a huge chunk of my college life. It pretty much consumed all those years. I mean, things that happened in Harry Potter land for me in college was, for one, the 7th book came out during that time, and me and my best friend went to go pick it up. And when we got it, we ran back to my car because we were scared someone would mug us in the parking lot. But it just kept going. At DragonCon, I got to meet James and Oliver Phelps, who are the Weasley twins. I got to meet Matthew Lewis, who's Neville Longbottom, and may I say that he's incredibly sweet. But I wanted to talk to you guys about Wizard Rock. Wizard Rock is a phenomenon that happened, started by Harry and the Potters, and then Draco and the Malfoys came along, and then the Whomping Willows, the Moaning Myrtles, so on and so forth. In its heyday, there were over 700 bands internationally that played music about Harry Potter. And this spawned other movements like Trock, which is Time Lord rock. And that became a big thing with a band called Chameleon Circuit, and they were featured in the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who a few years back. So my best weekend ever in college was when we found out that Harry and the Potters was coming to town one day, and then the next day it was the Whomping Willows, Justin Fletchley and the Sugar Quills, and the Remus Lupins, and they were coming the next day. So me and my group of friends went to go see Harry and the Potters the first day, and they were touring with a band called Uncle Monsterface. And Uncle Monsterface was sock puppet rock, and they would have sock puppet shows while they were singing this music. And they were great. They have great songs like the Gary Gygax song, where they sing about the creator of D&D. And then they had an entire Nintendo album with songs like Samus Aran, You're the Man, and my personal favorite, I'm Sorry, but Your Princess is in Another Castle. So they were just great. And then when Harry and the Potters came on, they just blew the house down. Harry and the Potters know how to put on a good show, and Paul and George are absolutely amazing, and there's a reason why these two together spurred off over 700 bands internationally, just because they had this love and this passion for Harry Potter. And then the next day, we went to Wordsmith Books in Decatur, Georgia, and it's not there anymore, and it was the coolest bookstore ever. It was built into a bank, and the young adult section where Harry Potter and everything was inside a vault. And sadly, it's not there anymore, and I miss Wordsmith. Draco and the Malfoys were there with Justin Fletchley, like I said, and Matt of the Whomping Willows, and the Remus Lupins. And it was just an incredible show. There's about 30 of us there, and we just rocked down this bookstore. And that was the great thing about Wizard Rock. A lot of times they would play in libraries. They would play in various different places, like houses and everything. And that was the next place that we went. It was a house party, and it was amazing. It was just a great weekend, and it spurred my love of Wizard Rock. And me and my close group of crazy friends who I love so much, these friends of mine, we were role players, and we would meet on big events, because we were all in college, and we all went to different colleges, but we would meet at my friend's house, and we would make crazy videos like this.
Snape, Snape, Severus Snape, 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 Severus Snape.
Dumbledore!
Snape, Severus Snape,
Dumbledore!
Snape, Severus Snape,
Dumbledore! Ron!
Snape,
Ron!
Severus
Ron!
Snape,
Dumbledore!
Snape,
Ron!
Snape,
Ron!
Severus
Ron!
Snape,
Dumbledore! Ron!
Hermione,
Ron!
Severus
Ron!
Hermione,
Dumbledore! Ron!
Hermione,
Ron!
Hermione,
Ron!
Hermione, Harry Potter, Hermione,
Ron!
Harry Potter, Hermione, Harry Potter, Hermione, Harry Potter, Hermione. Hermione,
I'm Harry Potter. I'm Harry Potter. I'm Harry Potter.
Severus,
Hermione, singing our song all day long at Hogwarts.
After the best weekend ever, there was just a ton of Wizard Rock concerts. They always came to Atlanta. After Wordsmith closed, for example, we met in the gazebo outside of Wordsmith's show to have a concert outside. And I got to meet Melissa Anelli of Pottercast. We just had a blast. And even though it was like 95 degrees outside, we were all sweating our butts off, we just had this best time. And it was just this building of a great sense of community. And may I also say, the day of this concert was the day that Michael Jackson died. And we just went to all sorts of shows, like me and two of my buddies, the two guys seen all the way to the left in this picture. We drove all the way out to Birmingham to see a show for one night, and we just started building this great sense of community and just had a blast. And then the summer after that in college, Matt of the Whomping Willows, Justin Finch-Fletchley, and Brian of Drake and the Malfoys started this tour called Rock the House. And what Rock the House was, is they would go and they would have house parties. And you could go and enjoy these house parties and go see them and everything. And they would schedule it with different people. Well, I scheduled the one for Carrollton, Georgia. And it was, the three of them came out. We had it in my boyfriend at the time's house. And there was about 20 of us there. And we just had a blast. It is still one of till this day, like one of the best experiences of my life. Oh man, we had so much fun. It was so great. And so here's a little bit of that.
Grass is green. Even the color of your dead mom's eyes is green. Slytherin world. With my Slytherin girl. With her beside me, we will take over the world.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. You can move to Massachusetts, where there'll be Draco and Harry sitting in a tree. SNOGGING. It's Draco and Harry sitting in a tree. SALLING in love. Wait, all you first timers, wait.
Or more.
The last two big things that happened to me with Wizard Rock in college is I went to this event called Rockstock. It was a 4-day Wizard Rock convention at the YMCA of the Ozarks in Missouri. And this place is gorgeous. It is my Hogwarts. Like, whenever I picture Hogwarts in my brain, I always think about this place. It was this secluded area in the mountains in Missouri. The closest town was like 5 miles away, and it was just us. It was just like 300 Harry Potter fans in this one area. And it was a gorgeous place. Like, for example, they had this teepee, and we called it the Wampum Willow. And if it wasn't one of the 9 main stage shows, other bands could perform in the Wampum Willow at certain times. So from the time you woke up to the time you went to bed, there was music all day long, and it was all Harry Potter music, and it was so much fun, and it was gorgeous. And it was the first time I really, I went to Dragon Con and I saw fans and stuff like that, and I grew up in fandoms, but there was just something incredibly special about being with all these Harry Potter fans, and everyone looked out for each other, and it was just amazing. We would have a fireside chat every night, and we would all sit around this fire and roast marshmallows and sing, a Harry Potter musical together and sing these songs, and it is still to this day like one of the best experiences of my life. And we would just have all sorts of things. Like, we would have CD exchanges where you would burn a CD of your favorite music and you would just trade it with somebody. and you got new music that way, and it was just spreading love and joy and music. And I met so many friends during that time, and a lot of them are still people I still talk with to this day. And Wizard Rock was just one of the best experiences of my life, and sadly it's not around anymore. And a lot of the bands moved on, like the Moaning Myrtles. Lauren ended up releasing her own albums, and I think Matt did too, and everyone just kind of is still around though, and I'm still really close with all these people. So very much so, in college, Harry Potter was a huge part of my life, and it still is part of my life, and it is probably one of the best experiences I ever had, and I will always remember it for the rest of my life. So college to me was Harry Potter.